Hey fam, how are you guys doing? It's Blessed. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time. Okay guys, it's the 30th of December today. Happy came to young day. Happy birthday, Tate. So anyway, so from the title of this video, you guys already know that we're going to talk about vaccines and vaccinations, but a quick backstory as to why I decided to make this video. I know I'm squatting, it's just that I don't expect this video to be too long, so yeah. So some weeks back, I was talking to this lady who lives here in Ireland, and she basically started talking about the COVID-19 vaccine that would be coming to Ireland soon and how she was not going to get the vaccine. And I went on to ask her why she was she was so adamant to not get the vaccine when he eventually gets here. Because initially I didn't know she was one of the anti-vaxxers. And she was like, listen, I have 3 kids. My first child is a girl, my second child is a girl, my last one is a boy, and he's the only one who has autism. And he's the only one who got vaccinated out of my kids. You can't tell me that it wasn't the vaccine that caused the autism. And honestly, I know it's very challenging raising a kid with autism, but I mean, just like this lady, I know there are so many people, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people who are actually against vaccination. Like there's a whole community of anti-vaxxers, I know that. But I just thought I should share some information on vaccines and why vaccines are not the enemy, okay? So just bear with me, just listen first, okay? So before I even go into vaccines, what vaccines are and what vaccination is, let me just give you guys a brief immunology background, okay? Just a very brief background so you understand what I'm gonna say later on, okay? It's gonna make sense. So we know there are microorganisms all around us. They're on my skin, they're in the air, they're everywhere, even on surfaces that you touch. They're microorganisms. There are different classes of microorganisms. There's bacteria, there's virus, there's fungi, there's protozoa, or the family of parasites. They're everywhere basically. Now, unlike bacteria, the thing with viruses is that viruses need a host to survive. So viruses are basically just DNA or RNA wrapped in protein, but they need to be attached to a cell in order to replicate. They basically need a host to live in order to have descendants, in order to produce more viruses. Do you get what I mean? They're very, very troublesome. Bacteria can be troublesome as well, but at least with bacteria, we have some good bacteria. You have good bacteria in your body that even fight off bad bacteria. Okay. But my point is, these microorganisms can be very troublesome. Now, on the other hand, we have the human body. And the human body has this amazing system called the immune system. The immune system is amazing, okay? It's your friend. Your immune system is just basically this complex network. It's just this complex system that fights off infection. It defends the body against infection. And it has so basically, let me give you an example. If a bacteria enters your system, enters the bloodstream, what the immune system does is that it releases, some cells release antibodies, and these antibodies go and fight the bacteria. Now the thing with bacteria is that they have different shapes around them. So the antibody has to cling to the bacteria, and that's how they kind of kill the bacteria. Does that make sense? That's like in layman's terms. That's what you need to remember. But sometimes it can take days for the body to even produce these antibodies to kill the bacteria. But once it kills the bacteria, we have these amazing cells in the body called the memory cells. Just like how they sound, they're memory cells. They remember, they take notes, they store the information, okay? They remember everything that happened. They remember that, oh, this bacteria came in and this was what we did to fight the bacteria, such that when that bacteria comes again, the body knows how to respond, how to fight and destroy the bacteria. That's what the memory cells are for. So if that bacteria comes into the body again, your memory cells remember everything. They fight the bacteria before you even have a chance to get infected. That's how amazing it is. And trust me, when this is happening, you're not even aware. You're probably just wondering how Taeyong is celebrating his birthday. So don't lose me here, okay? So remember, the microorganism enters the body fights it, the memory cells remember. Now imagine if there was a way for the memory cells to remember something that has not happened. Like, imagine if the memory cells could remember how to fight a bacteria, even though the bacteria has not infected the person. Just imagine if there was a way for that to happen. That's where vaccines come in. So vaccines are basically like a weakened form of microorganisms that is injected into the body. And when it's injected into the body still sees it as the bacteria, because basically it has like the same form and it has like the same protein. So the body still sees it as the bacteria and fights it like it's the real thing, and the memory cells remember. Now remember, this is just a weakened form of the microbe, but the body remembers it like it's the real thing. So much so that when the real thing comes, your memory cells remember and they're able to fight it. Does that make sense? That's what vaccines do. They basically cause the body to form an immunity against a disease. So what is vaccination then? Vaccination is just the administration of a vaccine into the body in order to help the body produce immunity against a disease. That's it. Very, very easy. So what are the benefits of vaccination? Well, like we said, it helps you, it protects you against the disease. It protects your kids, your family, your community against the disease and the spreading of diseases. There are some cases, like in the case of TB, where even with a BCG vaccine, you can still get TB, but it won't be a severe form of TB, okay? Because TB can be serious, okay? Yeah, so that's just basically a brief background of what vaccination is, of the benefits. Now let's go to side effects, which is where the anti-vaxxers always are. They're always like, but there are so many side effects of vaccines. Let's talk about the side effects, okay? Side effects of vaccines are not even anything so serious. Oh, wait, I take that back. For the most part, most people might have like pain around the sides, like slight tenderness around the side. There might be some redness. You might feel tired depending on the vaccine. You might, for flu vaccine, you might have runny nose, okay, but that's not common with a lot of vaccines, and this does not even happen in a lot of people. I've had the flu vaccine, I was fine. I didn't have any runny nose, I wasn't tired, nothing. Now for some people, they might develop an anaphylactic shock to the vaccine. Not very common. It's not something you see every day, but it could happen, okay? Now this is not the reason to not get the vaccine. Like, just because you heard that someone had an anaphylactic shock, that's not enough reason to not get the vaccine. Now, would we say vaccines are safe? Yes, because vaccines have been rigorously tested, okay, and they've been proven to be effective. Does that make sense? They're safe. Now, apart from the slight side effects that you may experience, trust me, the benefits of vaccination outweighs the risks of vaccination. Does that make sense? It does. Right. Okay, so now what about the people? I call them the but I know people. There are always people like the, oh, but I know a friend who got the flu vaccine and the next day she had the flu. But I know a neighbor whose child got the MMR vaccine and she has autism. But I know someone who got vaccinated and the next morning they were dead. But I know someone who, there's always who got a vaccine and had a seizure. They always know someone. But I know someone who died of the polio virus because they never got the polio vaccine. Guys, vaccines are not your enemy. Vaccines are good, okay? Like I said, there aren't a lot of people who suffer an anaphylactic shock. It's not very common, okay? Whereas there's so many people that die because they don't get vaccinated. Now again, there are other people that are like, oh well, measles is not that bad. I had measles, all I had was a rash and that was it. I was fine the next day. Maybe you were lucky, okay? Not everyone might be that lucky. It's kind of like with smoking. There are some people that smoke and they have lung cancer. There are people that smoke and they don't have lung cancer. But that's not enough reason to not get your child vaccinated. Now let's talk about vaccines the MMR vaccine and its link to autism, okay? Now this vaccine, oh my God. This vaccine has been linked to autism several times, and it's mostly by people, like even in clinic, you still see parents who are like, doctor, does the MMR vaccine really cause autism? Because I heard this, my neighbor said this, I read it on the internet. I'll just tell you now, the MMR vaccine does not cause autism in any way, okay? Now, where that came from was from a doctor called Andrew Wakefield. He was a British physician. He carried out a research on 12 kids, guys. 12 kids. That's not enough to generalize. Even I know from research methods during my master's that that's not enough to generalize. You need a larger sample to be able to generalize, okay? In most cases. But 12 kids, they carried out the research on 12 kids and it's results showed that was what he said at the end of his research, that the MMR vaccine was linked to autism. But his work has been discredited. People showed that he actually used questionable research methods, like his work was altered and stuff. So his work has actually been discredited. In Denmark, there was a study carried out on over 650,000 children, okay, searching for this link between the MMR vaccine and autism. Nothing was found. Less than 1% of the kids had autism. And even when they kind of like grouped the kids into like those that had a higher risk of getting autism, those ones didn't even have autism. So no, there's no link between the MMR vaccine and autism. It's just from that research that Dr. Wakefield carried out. He has actually been struck off the British Register, so he's not a practicing physician in the UK. But it's just that people still read it and they're still like, there is a link, blah blah blah. Other studies have been carried out in Scotland, in America, and they all discredit it, that no, the MMR vaccine does not cause autism. Let me tell you something. Autism is not even something you get, okay? No one gets autism. There's no single known cause of autism. You can't say this is the cause of autism. It's not like you can say, oh, varicella zoster virus causes chickenpox. You can't say that with autism because there's no known single cause. There are only risk factors that have been kind of like implicated in causing or in predisposing someone to autism. Things like very preterm babies, smoking during pregnancy, family history of autism, kind of like things like this. Sometimes maybe the age of the parents as well, genetic mutation. But like that's what I'm saying, there are like different things that could play a role in predisposing someone to autism, but there's no known cause like this is how you get autism. Okay, so don't think that it's the MMR vaccine that caused autism. And it's the same thing with this lady that I spoke about at the beginning. Again, I forgot to mention male sex. Apparently, boys are 4 times more likely to have autism than girls. So this person I mentioned at the beginning, her first child was a girl, second child was a girl, third born was a boy. 4 times more likely to have than the 2 girls. She smokes a lot. Like, she doesn't just smoke. She smokes. So that's another predisposing factor. She's older, but she wouldn't look at all this. Now, the thing with anti-vaxxers is that somehow you guys just fail to look at coincidence. You could vaccinate your child on Monday and the child have an accident on Wednesday and you'll believe that it's the vaccine. Somehow. We need to get to that point where we stop seeing vaccines as the enemy. I know there are other people that are like, well, there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies that are trying to make money. I don't know much about conspiracy theories. All I care about, to be honest, is science. And I know these vaccines work. There are a lot of people that are dying from hepatitis B virus, okay? Millions of people are infected with hepatitis B virus. Out of those people, 1 in every 4 person will have liver damage. That's a lot. That's too much to risk. I got a dose of the hepatitis B vaccine 2 weeks ago. I was fine. Many people are gonna be like, no, it caused this for me, it caused that for me. And I'm not trying to invalidate you guys' struggle. I'm just saying that just think about a coincidence. I know there's some cases where people are told not to have vaccines, like maybe people that are allergic to eggs or neomycin. I know initially we're told that if someone's allergic to eggs, they should not have the flu vaccine. But now that has been kind of like revised, and you can, even though you're allergic to eggs, you can have the flu vaccine, but it should probably be in the presence of a medical professional who can manage the side effects. Okay, so guys, I don't know if there's any other thing I want to talk about. My point is just that what I'm trying to say is, look, vaccines are good. That's why I took my time to explain at the beginning that microbes are always looking for a host, and you as a healthy individual, you're perfect for them. Okay, and fine, the immune system is beautiful and wonderful, but sometimes it could get compromised. Sometimes it could be overwhelmed, and that's why vaccines are important. Okay, vaccines are not your enemy. Vaccines are good. This is not even talking about the COVID-19 vaccine. That's your choice. It's your body, it's your prerogative. If you want to get the vaccine, it's up to you. But guys, I'm begging you, for the love of God, please vaccinate your kids. I don't think it's fair to see kids die of things that could have been avoided. Okay, please, let's vaccinate our kids. As someone who wants to be a pediatrician, I feel like one of the most challenging things I might see during my practice might be an anti-vaxxer parent, like someone that is just adamantly hesitant to get a vaccine for their kids. It's not fair. I beg you. Avoiding childhood vaccinations can actually lead to very serious illnesses, and not just for your kids, but it could also spread it to other people around you. So please get the vaccine for your kids. Please get your kids vaccinated. All right. That's all I want to talk about today. I hope I answered some of your questions. If you have more questions, please put them in the comment section and I'll answer them. And guys, have a happy new year. Okay, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.